So, I just read this really great graphic novel, The Encyclopedia of Early Earth. This is a remarkable book. It's done in kind of this not super colored, but there's limited use of color throughout the book. It's a gorgeous book by Isabel Greenberg. And it is set kind of in this prehistorical time with all these like myths. It's really about myths and stories, and it's a very magical place in which all these tribes and stuff live, and it's a very decentered storyline in which there's characters, there's main characters, and there is a main character, but he's kind of the storyteller. So he tells all these other stories that are kind of a way of defining what the world's about, and it's not a totally clear vision of the world, and that's what I kind of liked, because it's very magical. It's a funny book, it's a sad book, it's a awe-inspiring book. It's one of the most exciting graphic novels I've read in a while, because especially the art, it's not like easy art, it's not beautiful quote-unquote art, it's kind of jagged, and like I could see somebody like seeing this Isabel Greenberg's art in high school and saying, oh, you're not a good artist or whatever. But I think that's the point, that if you pursue art in any direction, you become more yourself, and what are actually your weaknesses or your quote unquote limitations can actually become the defining characteristics of what make you great. So I think she does that very well. I love her art. It's so unique in modern comics, and I think we're in such a golden age for the self-publisher, the creator, writer, artist that does everything, rather than the studio system, which is kind of broken down, because a lot of superhero comics, which are quote unquote the mainstream, that's like where things are broken down into that process of writer, artist, editor, colorist, inker, etc., blah blah blah. Because this is basically just her doing everything, and she does a great job, and I'm sure 176 pages or whatever this thing is took her a long time. I always say that in my reviews, because I'm always inspired and in awe of all the work that goes into doing your own graphic novel, and her art is just great. I love it. It's not just each panel, it's just how she moves between the panels. It's lovely. I love this book, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the best graphic novels I've read in quite a while. I'd be tempted to recommend this to children, or maybe adults reading it with their children, but I wouldn't go too young, because there are some kind of graphic parts that maybe you don't want your children exposed to. You can get there's a little violence, a little nudity, so keep that in mind. But I would say maybe like 6 or 7, if you're reading it with them, they could probably handle it. And I think they'd like it, they'd appreciate it, they'd remember this as something they come back to, as a very magical, weird, amazing book that is cool. Her artwork is she doesn't use a lot of simple perspective. It's very jagged, and it's very, I don't know how to describe it, cubist or impressionist. I'm not good with my art terminology enough to describe how she makes things. It's not representational, I guess, or maybe it is. What is her art about? It's just showing things in a very jagged way, and I like that look. It's so simple, and she uses like watercolors and all kinds of stuff. I assume it's watercolors. It looks watercolory. But I love the characters. They all have this kind of, even though it's set like in the past, they all have this kind of modern, super sarcastic and ironic tone to their speechifying, which I like. I said it's kind of a decentered narrative, and the ending, it's not a simple, happy ending, so I like that too. I don't know if it's a happier, I don't even know if it's a happy or a sad ending. It's an ending. And that's what this book is about. It's about stories and how they work, and how they aren't always even ending. They're still happening. So this story, even though it's set in the early Earth, it's really our modern world. I mean, it's the same things that we're facing every day. So these characters, they're you and me. They're everything. I like this book. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. has Birdman, like that. Remember that Michael Keaton movie, Birdman? That was good. This is maybe like, this came out in 2013, so you can see this as like a precursor to Birdman, the movie. Maybe you should read this and then watch Birdman back to back. That'd be pretty intense. I haven't read a book quite like this, so I'm really highly recommending it. The Encyclopedia of Early Earth by Isabel Greenberg. Check it out.